Hello, welcome. We are doing a quick stream here, kind of impromptu a little bit, but if you don't know me, I am John Negroni, as you can see on the screen here. And yeah, I'm doing this a little impromptu. It's been a very busy day, but I somehow found time to do this stream to talk about something that I get questions on just about every single day. Not just about, I do get questions about every single day, and that is Pixar Theory book. And when is it coming out? Why is it taking so long to come out? And so I wanted to do a quick rundown of where we're at with the book and how you can get your hands on it. First thing I do have to get out of the way, it's very unfortunate, but the previous book is currently unavailable. There's actually no way that you can get the first edition version. The reason is because I published it through a publisher that basically like went out of business. We published the book 5 years ago, and they just kind of folded. And it was sad. I mean, it was kind of like a boutique bookstore kind of thing. They did this thing where they created like very short books, very short form books. And, I wrote it when I was quite a bit younger, and I kind of just took the blog post and expanded it, and that was my first published book, and that was obviously very exciting. It was a huge milestone, but I always in the back of my head had an idea of how this sort of book could be even bigger. It could be huge. And so I've been kind of waiting for a new version of the book to come out. I've had an idea in my head of a new version ever since I found a new publisher a few years ago. They published my first novel, Killer Joy, back in 2017. And since then, I have been hard at work trying to get a new Pixar book out there, a new version of this thing. And I cannot wait for it to be out. But I'm here to sort of give you some information on the status of the book and what you can expect from it. You're actually looking at the book cover art, and that's one of the most exciting things about it, honestly, is that Vishon Brandon did the cover art. He's been working with me for the past year or so on getting this together. And as you can see, he absolutely nailed it. I absolutely love this cover art. I might do a stream in the future as the book is getting closer to release to show you some of the other concepts Vishon worked on, because they were really cool. It was actually really hard to pick a single one. But as you can see there, the book has a new title. It's not just the Pixar Theory, it's actually the Pixar Theory and Other Revelations. And good dinosaur fans will understand that reference right there. So down to brass tacks, I see some people coming into the comments. Really great to see you there. Some fans of the Pixar Theory and everything. I love talking about the theory, and yeah, some favorite Pixar film currently. Stick around, and I'll do that at the end, because I actually do time to think about it because it changes quite a lot. But okay, the status on this book, and then I'll talk more about the book itself and what it is going to entail, like what you can expect from it. I started writing this new version of the book a couple of years ago when my publisher basically worked out a deal with my previous publisher to switch over the rights of the book to me. So I would actually have like sole creative authorship of the new Pixar Theory book. I would be able to put out a new version of it. And so what does that mean? What makes it a new version? Well, if you are at all familiar with the first version of this book, the one that came out in 2015 under Slim Books, it was extremely short. It was only a little over 100 pages. At that point, I didn't even include a chapter for Inside Out because the book was already like rolling out right before Inside Out came out into the world, right? So it went only up to 2013 to Monsters University, I believe, because I don't think, yeah, we didn't get a Pixar film in 2014, and then yeah, Inside Out was the next one after that. So that version of the book is super short, and like I said before, it's kind of like an expanded version of the theory of the blog post, I should say. And since then, we've obviously gotten way more Pixar movies. And as each movie has come out, I've written stuff on my blog about how I think the movies fit into the shared universe that I put out there back in 2013. But obviously, like a lot's changed since then. I've had a lot of time to really think about what these movies really contribute to, like a grander narrative of Pixar. And I've been trying to think deeply about some of the holes in the theory and how I could address them in a creative way. And I've written multiple versions of this book that not only go chapter by chapter, movie by movie, but also address some of the life lessons of Pixar. They address theories across the Pixar like world, and a lot of deeper analysis on what these movies mean and why a theory like this could maybe help us understand like the Pixar touch a little bit better. So it's a lot of things in one. You're of course getting the thing that I hope you want, which is more theory stuff and a lot of new material, a lot of things, like I say, other revelations because I mean it. I'm sort of trying to reveal things from the Pixar canon that hopefully were, that hopefully makes sense. And I will be super honest. I wrote the first version or the second version of this book. That's how long I've been working on this. And I put it out there. I gave it to a few readers, and it was really out there. I did some really weird things with it. And I gotta say, the readers were not into it. People gave me really honest feedback, which I super appreciate. If you're ever interested in writing a book, one of the first most important things you can do is find people who are going to read your material and not tell you what you want to hear exclusively, like at the expense of telling you what you need to hear. And so many people came to me and were like, this book isn't working. And I was like, cool, that's clearly the case. It is not working, and I need to go back to the drawing board. And that's really what I've been doing most of this year, most of this COVID year. I've been rethinking how this book could work, how long it should be, and how I can write it in a way that actually adds value to a pretty established theory at this point. I mean, every YouTuber under the sun, blogger, or what have you, has really put their own stamp on this theory, and rightfully so. It's designed for people to put their own like ideas into it. It doesn't belong to any one person, and I'm trying my best, of course, to be like original with my take on the theory and how to take it and expand it in a way that feels personal to me, like only I would write it, that's why I avoid, for example, a lot of other people's like Pixar theory videos and stuff like that, because I don't want it to sour or I don't want it to like affect what I write about it, if that makes any sense. In fact, I'm seeing some people kind of mentioning like Soul, and I've seen Soul twice now, and I'm definitely thinking a lot about that film and how it relates to this theory. And of course, that is going to be the last chapter. My goal for this book, and the deal I've worked out with my publisher, is that we are going to put it out in 2021. That is the plan. We were hoping to do it earlier. We were hoping, the original plan was to release this at the same time as Soul. So it was going to be right after Onward, but this was back when Soul was coming out in the summertime. And then COVID just really wrecked our plans. I mean, it's made, selling books and publishing books like very, very complicated. I had another book that was supposed to come out last fall, this just a few months ago, the sequel to my novel. And of course that didn't get to happen. Super, super sad about that. I literally wrote that book almost 3 years ago, and it's been sitting on the shelf waiting to be published, and I think it's really good, but I have to be patient. I have to get the Pixar book out first. So, no worries on that. The Pixar book is coming. I have to apologize that the original is out of print, and, so many people have come to me and have been wanting to give it as a gift, and it breaks my absolute heart that this book isn't ready, because I hope that people who are fans of the theory are going to enjoy it as a gift. And I was so excited that we thought it was going to be coming out in time for the holidays, and that would have been perfect. But we're going to make it work. Our current plan is to release the book around the time that Luca comes out. Luca is the next Pixar film. If you haven't heard of it yet, it's the next one from Lee Unkrich, the director of Coco. I think I have that right. And I'm excited about that movie, of course. I don't think I'll be able to fit that into the book in time, because I literally have to have the book done, a few months before we put it out. But yeah, the current plan, at the very latest, we're looking at it could be coming out in the summer. We would love for it to come out in the springtime, like maybe the late spring. But with all things, I have to absolutely add caveats, because the publishing industry is just so difficult, and it's really unpredictable. But the current plan is that you will be able to get it on Amazon. You'll be able to get a print copy on Amazon. You will be able to get an Audible version of it, or iBooks or anything like that, audio-wise, eventually. It takes a little bit of time. We don't have a narrator yet. I have considered being the narrator, but I am not good at that sort of thing, honestly, in terms of long stretches of dictation. I don't think I could handle it, but it would be cool. I am considering it because it is a very personal book. So I guess it would kind of make sense if I did the narration. We'll see what happens. I really appreciate the support I'm seeing. People who are excited about the book coming out. If you've reached out to me about getting a copy, I have a master list of people who reached out, and I'm really disappointed with myself that I haven't responded to every single person. But that just tells you like how many requests I've gotten about this book and questions. And I'm going to do my absolute best. I'm going to put all my effort into responding to everybody and finding a way to get this book to them, letting them know about giveaways, of course, and ways that they can get their hands on the book at a discounted price. That is the plan. So that is what we're working on. If you're watching this video and you see the cover art, please give me some feedback. I know it's kind of small there. I can probably zoom in a little bit more. So you can kind of see there. This is from Vishon Brandon. You might recognize him a bit from, I was introduced to him from the Super Carlin brothers. Jay and Ben turned me on to him as a great graphics guy. So you might recognize his style a little bit because he helps them with their stuff. Jay and Ben are awesome, and I love the Super Carlin brothers channel and what they've done with this theory. They always have really, really cool things to add to it. But yeah, and then that's like the back. This is not what the back will. It's not like the final version. There's like fake quotes on it and stuff, but you know, that's kind of how it goes when you're still working on stuff. But yeah, shout out to Vishon for doing such a great job, and really hoping that this is going to be, you know, a great product for people, something that's going to enrich their lives. I feel like I need to fact check the Lee Unkrich thing directing Luca, because I think I do have that wrong. It's pretty embarrassing on my part, so I'm going to fact check that right now. Let's see. So Luca from okay, yeah, it's not Lee Unkrich. I'm ridiculous. Thank you for pointing that out and fact checking me there. It is directed by Enrico Casarosa, who I'm not as familiar with. I know he's a storyboard artist, and I know he's done some things in Pixar. But I forget exactly what he's worked on. It looks like he's worked on Luna, The Good Dinosaur. So apologies for that factual misstep there. Yeah, so somebody even knows. See, yeah, I make mistakes. I'm not the Pixar guru. The people, you know, that make me out to be. I try to keep it all in my brain, but like after a while, just like it all blends together. I will say I've watched all of the movies so many times, and my favorite thing about writing the book is that whenever I do a chapter, I edit a chapter, it's an excuse to watch a Pixar film again. And so I'm literally waiting for my third rewatch of Soul, because I want to do it like right before the chapter. And so it's like sad, because I really enjoyed Soul. The second watch was really fun, and I'm already kind of itching to see it again, which is, if you know me, like I review a lot of different movies, not just Pixar stuff, and I very rarely see things twice that are new, because I have all this time that I need to devote to newer films for like Cinemaholics and then the podcasting things I do there. But yeah, with Pixar movies, I like to make an exception for reasons that should be obvious. But yeah, I appreciate some of the love going out to the Super Carlin brothers and the cover art and everything. Yeah, I don't have too much else to add, unless anybody has questions about the structure and stuff of the book or anything like that. There's not too much information I can give. Like I said, it is expanding the theory. It is kind of going like movie by movie. I've added like new quirks to it, like things that are more personal to me, like my kind of journey with Pixar. I'm trying to be careful about it because I don't want it to just be a book about me, when it's like that's not what you're really here for. But the point is for me to kind of go in there and maybe contextualize like why this theory exists, why I think it did take off, why I think the movies lend themselves to this kind of fan theory, and some broader takeaways people can get from fandom in general and how it can be a really positive thing. Of course, you're going to get tons of revelations, you know, not just the big one, the Boo and Brave connection, which I won't give away if you're not familiar with it. That's obviously a big one, but, you know, with movies like Onward, Coco, and Soul, those are three movies that really inform a lot of like where I've taken this theory. There's a lot in this theory about like human nature and our imaginations and our emotions with, you know, via Inside Out, and how I think that connects really strongly with movies like Monsters Inc. There's all kinds of like fun new stuff that I've come up with over the last few years. I know other people have come up with them too. You know, they've you know, independently figured it out for themselves. Like you know, I like to think I have my own unique flair with it, I guess. But I'll take a look at the comments before we can start talking like straight up Pixar stuff. But what's your favorite theory that you didn't come up with? Oh man, I have to think about it. I'm going to take a sip as I think about that. That's a good question. There's there is a man. Does it have to be a Pixar theory, or could it be any theory? I think, like a lot of people, I'm a big fan of the, even though I don't believe in it, and I think it's like not dumb, but it's, pretty obviously not the case. I think it's really fun, imagination wise. The theory about Jar Jar Binks being a Sith Lord, that is absolutely my jam. Theories like that, they're so fun, and it's kind of goofy, but it's like, who cares? It's a lot of fun imagination stuff. In terms of like Pixar theories, there's a lot that bug me, honestly. There's not a lot that I've gravitated toward. One that I didn't really come up with, but I kind of like popularized a bit, was the one with in Toy Story 2, where the mom might be like Andy's mom might be Jesse's owner. People say that I came up with that, but even in the blog post that I did for that, it did go viral and everything, but I pointed out that I didn't come up with it. Like, somebody came to me and suggested it, and then we kind of like put it together and like made a thing out of it. Has anyone stolen your theories as their own? Oh, yeah. Oh, countless times. So it's happened so many times that it doesn't even bother me anymore, because first of all, it's not a big deal. It's not like people are like robbing me of something. Actually, it's just like, to me, it's just like coming up with ideas, and a lot of the time people just come up with it on their own. So like, there's no reason for me to be annoyed or anything. But it happens quite a bit, just because I think people see my stuff, or they read my stuff, and they figure like, oh, I can just make a video about it and I don't have to credit John, and that's a bummer when I see that. I don't usually catch it. People catch it for me. There have been times when people have made videos, like literally like taking something I wrote about. For example, I wrote this thing about The Incredibles, and how it's a story about equality, and I talked about the alternative history stuff. It was very specific things, and a video almost word for word was just aping that theory. And yeah, that's a bummer. It's like, you can make a video, just kind of tell people where you got the inspiration, and don't plagiarize me, just credit me. I don't care. You can take anything that I've talked about or commented on and do a video about it if you want. Do I watch Seamus Gorman? I don't watch Seamus. I've seen videos from him. I've seen videos from him because he's cool. We follow each other on Twitter, and I keep up with his stuff. Most of the time I keep up with his stuff is when he's on Bacon and Eggs with Tyler Carlin and Ethan Edgehill. One of my favorite podcasts. I've been on there many times. I love those guys. They put on such a great thing. If you haven't heard of their podcast, Tyler Carlin is definitely the indie I always call him, and he hates it, the indie comedy Super Carlin brother. But yeah, his show with Ethan is a delight, and they have Seamus on a lot. And I always love listening to Seamus talk about stuff. I can't say though that I've seen a lot of his videos. I don't know why. I think the algorithm prevents that for me. Okay, there was a question about my favorite Pixar film, and I'll tell you, my favorite Pixar film right now is absolutely Soul. Soul blew me away, and the more I like think about it, the more I'm just like, man, I really love this movie. Like, it really clicked for me. Previously to Soul, though, it tends to be between two films, very formative films for me, and that is The Incredibles. Wait, I think, or Just Incredibles. Is it Just Incredibles? The Incredibles. Yeah, this is my brain when I'm on the spot and I'm going live. I can't remember very basic things, but yeah, Incredibles and also Finding Nemo. Those two Pixar movies for me just represent everything I love about movies. The Incredibles has such a creative plot structure. It's very different from a lot of the other Pixar films. We were actually talking about this on Cinemaholics today when we were reviewing Soul. And when you look at like the story of like Soul, where it's kind of like a buddy comedy, and you kind of see that in almost every Pixar film. Toy Story is Buzz and Woody. Monsters, Inc. is Mike and Sully. Up is Russell and Carl. The Good Dinosaur is Arlo and Spot. Like, Inside Out is Joy and Sadness. Coco is Miguel and well, I won't spoil who, the skeleton guy, Hector. I almost spoiled it. Wow. It's a very common thing, but Incredible and Finding Nemo, obviously Marlin and Dory, but Incredibles is so unique in the way that it's not that. It's not a buddy comedy. It's an ensemble, and it's very different, and it has such a unique style. It's so edgy. The action is so good. I love what Brad Bird does with animation. It's very good. And then Finding Nemo, I think, is just the funniest and most fun adventure. You know, it hits you in the emotions. It's iconic. It has some of the best side characters. Those two Pixar films for me are unforgettable. I will say Ratatouille tends to creep up there. I have a really soft spot for Ratatouille. Big fan of that one, just in the way that its message is so good about, you know, there's a reason people have really gravitated toward the like, you know, anyone can cook, you know, or a great cook can come from anywhere, and the Anton Ego thing, and it's so profound, you know, it's such a profound message. Big reason why I love Soul. Soul is a very profound movie as well, in my estimation. And yeah, it looks like we have another Incredibles fan. I also really did like Incredibles 2. Incredibles 2 is a really great, well done movie. I can't say that it had all of the power of the first movie for me, and I didn't really look at it. I don't look at it now as like as a masterpiece. I look at it as a really fun, you know, continuation of a family that I really like. So I appreciate all of these questions. This has been fun. You know, if you're just popping in and you're curious about like the book itself, I kind of went over it. This video will be out, like the full stream will be out, but that's all I really have time to get into for now. I'm going to do my best to keep people updated. I do want to maybe hopefully like release like excerpts or something like that, but I'm still working that out with the publisher. It's a little dicey how that stuff can work. But if I'm able to do that, just, you know, keep up. I'll let you know here on the channel. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and everything. And I appreciate all the support and the positivity from people. It has been everything. And you know, I can't say it enough that people have been super patient about this. And my hope is that when this book does come out, it is going to be like the absolute best version that I can do. And so I don't know if that means it's going to be, you know, as good as people are hoping. I hope it is. And I would be really happy if that's the case. But if it's not, hey, there's always another book. And yeah, my worry is that, you know, a few months is going to go by and the publisher is going to be like, well, John, we could just wait, and we could put Luca into the book as well. And then I'll be like, okay, let's do that. And then Turning Red is like the next Pixar film, and they're like, John, you could just wait for Turning Red to come out. And then next thing you know, this book's never coming out because I keep adding chapters. But that said, we're going to try to avoid that. And I appreciate, once again, checking out this video. Don't forget to subscribe and everything. Hit the bell, because I do live streams. So if you want to know as soon as I'm going live or anything, I'm going to try to do my best to do more with like scheduling things so people know when I'm going live. The problem is that I never actually know. I just sort of squeeze stuff in when I'm not busy. But I'm hoping to change that in the near future, so this is more convenient for folks. Okay, hope you all have an amazing day. I hope those of you who are watching or rewatching Soul or any Pixar movie right now are really enjoying it. Get your prep work done, because this book is definitely for people. You got to watch the movies to really get the full experience out of the book, but you've got time, unfortunately. See you, everybody.